If you love ghost stories, folklore, and all things mysterious, you need to make a trip to Haunted in downtown Tullahoma, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Nashville, this family-owned Gothic shop is filled with the strange, unusual, and downright fascinating. This isn't a big box store full of mass-produced decorations. Haunted specializes in handmade curiosities, Gothic decor, metaphysical supplies, green witchcraft essentials, and unique pieces created by independent artists. Whether you're decorating or just looking for something you won't find anywhere else, Haunted is worth the trip. Visit them on 125 West Lincoln Street in Tullahoma, or shop online at hauntedstore.net. That's right, hauntedstore.net. Haunted, curated for the strange and unusual. Welcome back to Southern Ghost Stories. I'm the American Haunt Historian, Alan Searcy. All right, so I've been teasing it for a while, and I'm finally going to do it. The Q&A. You guys have been asking, and y'all have sent me a ton of questions and comments, and I appreciate you doing so. So today I'm going to dig into some of those in this episode and hopefully give you guys some answers to these questions. So I guess let's just jump right into it, because I got a bunch to get through. From Toby Smith. I've heard a lot of paranormal investigators and such that witness tons of paranormal activity, but still say they don't completely believe in the paranormal. Do you believe in the paranormal yourself, or are you still not sure? Okay, Toby, thank you for writing in. Wow. So, I've always been intrigued by the paranormal, but I guess it was 2005. I moved into a house that was owned by my family that butted up to a historic mansion in South Nashville. The mansion was Travelers Rest, a historic site that belonged to Judge John Overton. And the history of the property goes back to the 1300s. It was a Native American Mississippian Indian village. In the 1800s, when Overton moved in, he dug up three stonebox graves to build his mansion. He actually named his mansion Golgotha, which meant House of the Skull. Kind of a wink and a nod to the stonebox graves he dug up to build his house. He got married, and his wife said, hey, let's call this place Travelers Rest. It's a little more family-friendly. That's what it's called today. But anyway, yes, I'm a believer, because living in that house, you can't not be a believer. The first night I was there, the trash can moved 8 feet in the middle of the night into the kitchen. There was a light in the den, and every night before I went to bed, I would turn this light off. But in the morning, it would be on. So, yeah, I saw some weird things. And what's wild is the Travelers Rest, the historic site there behind the home, they denied anything. Oh, no such thing as ghosts. You're wasting your time. No ghost here. But off the record, their employees would tell me things, yeah, we're haunted. I can't talk about it. Oh, there are ghost stories, but we want the attention to be on the history here, the Native Americans, the Overton family. So I get it. Some folks embrace the historical stuff over the ghost stuff. Some people will embrace both and talk about the ghost stories, but that site does not. But yeah, I saw too many things in that house, had too many weird experiences, and writing these books, just going around and visiting historical sites that are allegedly haunted. I've had a lot of weird things happen in Murfreesboro, Gallatin, Franklin. I've had too many experiences to not be a believer. So yeah, Toby, thank you for writing in. That's a good question. So Michael Hall wrote in, what role do you think ghosts play in the afterlife, as in a soul trapped in purgatory? Well, that's a good question too, and it's hard to give an answer for that. I hadn't really made it a secret. I go to church. I'm a believer, and I have a friend of mine. She's an empath. She can't see a ghost, but she can sense and feel things. And I've been in places with her, and she is spot on. She's told me things only I know through researching these books that she has no business knowing. So one night she and I talked at a historic site, and she was like, look, a ghost or a spirit, whatever you want to call it, it's someone who was, when they were alive, when they were young, they were raised in the church. They were raised to believe in God. Well, when they die, they're afraid of going to the light. They're afraid God will judge them harshly, so they stay behind. So, no one really knows exactly. I've had people tell me, oh, they're demons trying to trick you. In the Bible, it does mention demons that will try to trick you and deceive you. No one really knows. From the empath, from my religious upbringing, it's hard to really say, and really it's kind of up to you to kind of filter through everything and really form your own opinion. But I don't know how it all works, but what the empath told me makes the most sense to me. I mean, I'm not perfect. If I was to die tomorrow, I mean, I'd be afraid of judgment. I did some things when I was a kid that I'm ashamed of, but who knows? So it's a good question, Michael. I'm glad you wrote in. Paulette Cranford, she wrote in, I enjoyed the episode on the Rougarou. Yeah, that was about a month or two ago. She wrote, it got me thinking, do you really think there are cryptids and monsters out there? Seems like every time they find something on Bigfoot, it turns out to be fake. And she's right. It's a good question. Doing research in folklore and cryptids and stuff, like I know when I did my Christmas episode about the Christmas cryptids, like Frau Perketa, the German lady who would come in and slit your belly if you didn't have your house clean. I mean, that was just to make you clean your house. It was to scare you. So, like the Rougarou, it was probably to keep kids from wandering out into the woods. Because, if you're in the 1400s, 1500s, and if you have a family, if you're a mother or a father and you have young children, you don't want them going out in the woods. There are dangerous things out there. There's mountain lions, could be coyotes. Something would snatch a kid and just run off with it, and they never see it again. The kid could get lost. They could die. They could freeze if the weather got bad. So yeah, I've never seen a cryptid. I've never seen a monster. But the funny thing is, I've talked to several people who've seen and they've had experiences. I know a guy, Aaron in Hendersonville, a good friend of mine. He swears, like he looked me in the eye and told me this story about this unbelievable thing he saw up in a tree on more than one occasion, like a shadowy man that was out there in the woods. And weird things that happened back there in the woods, but like the conviction in his voice, the look in his eye, he saw something. And he explained it very adamantly, like it was fact. So I don't doubt that he saw something. I've never seen it. Another guy I know, Ernie Pack up in Kentucky, some of you guys may know him. I mean, he's looked me in the eye and tell me about things he's experienced, he's seen. So just the way that the people, when they tell these stories about these monsters or cryptids or things they see in the woods, their eyes light up. It's just the fear or the fascination. So I've never seen it, but I know people who have, and I respect them, and I can't discredit their story. So I'm going to say I don't know. I mean, the Earth is a pretty big place, and maybe there are things that we just haven't experienced yet. And there are a lot of hoaxes. I mean, you can go out there and just Google Bigfoot. There's been half a dozen instances in the past few years where people have faked, a frozen gorilla suit, or they've gotten parts from different animals and put them together, and they tried some taxidermy stuff and to make it look like there's a creature out in the woods that they caught and stuffed or whatever. So I don't know, but I know there are a lot of fake things out there. So it's a good question. Bart S. wrote me a question. Have you ever uncovered evidence that changed the accepted history of a haunted location? That's a really good question. There is a place in Franklin, Tennessee, right on the square there, and it's the Eaton House. So John Eaton was the Secretary of War for Andrew Jackson back in the 1800s when he was president. The story in Franklin goes that Peggy Eaton, if you know history, Peggy Eaton, she was responsible for the Petticoat Affair, which was when Andrew Jackson's cabinet, all their wives revolted. Jackson's cabinet was a bunch of stuffy old men, and their old wives rebelled against Peggy Eaton. John Eaton married a girl like he was a teenager who was a barmaid at a boarding house. So you have these 60, 70-year-old women hanging out with this girl in her 20s or 30s in Washington, and she's chewing tobacco. She's very unrefined, but she was causing all kinds of problems in Washington. I think Jackson, the entire cabinet resigned because of all the stuff going on. You can Google it. It's called the Petticoat Affair. It's nuts how history works. But the story goes that the building in Franklin, Tennessee is haunted by this scandalous woman, Peggy Eaton. So I've done a lot of research in Franklin. I got a Franklin book, Southern Ghost Stories, Franklin, Tennessee. You can go find it. It's got a ton of good reviews. Yeah, please go check it out. And what I learned doing that book, Peggy Eaton may have visited the house once or twice. There is a woman there supposedly in the house, and you can talk to people who work there, and they say that it is haunted. They've seen a woman on the stairs. I happen to think it's John's mother. It's not his scandalous wife. It's a great story. The Petticoat Affair is based in history, and it's wild. But I happen to believe that it's really John's mother who died in the home, but not Peggy. So, ghost tours, they want to sell tickets, they want to tell some crazy stories, but in my opinion, I think it's not Peggy and it's his mother. So thanks, Bart, for sending that in. Jasmine Jackson wrote, oh, that's a fun name, Jasmine Jackson. Sounds like a pop star. Like she should be touring Britney Spears or something. Anyway, here's her question. Hi, Alan. I was watching a show on the Travel Channel, and it said that New Orleans is the most haunted city in the country. Is that true? What do you think? Wow. So, the most haunted city in the country. Man, and a lot of places claim that, and it's all, I guess, it's up to you, and it's kind of speculative as to it's subjective, really. What is the most haunted city in America? I mean, New Orleans, and they could stake a claim for it. I mean, you got Marie Laveau and the Voodoo. In the French Quarter, you got to think that fire engulfed 2/3 of the French Quarter back in the 1870s on 2 occasions. So, like, you can walk around New Orleans and you'll see a sign, building is for sale, and it'll say not haunted, because it's kind of by default, everything is haunted in New Orleans. So many fires and so many great stories in New Orleans. Savannah could also stake a claim to being the most haunted city in America. There's ghost stories on every corner. I mean, you got to think, when they fought the Revolution, when you think the American Revolution, you usually think the Northeast, Boston, New York, but they fought in Savannah. Georgia was a colony. It was one of the biggest ports in the country. And all those picturesque, beautiful squares you see on the postcards, you see online, they're all mass graves from the Revolution. So it's hard to really say. I mean, I mentioned Boston. Boston's got a ton of history. The older cities will have more ghost stories because, like I was telling somebody the other day, they were talking about Nashville. Nashville was the West. It's where people who fought in the Revolution came. So I would think that the most haunted city in America, it had to be somewhere on the East Coast, maybe. I mean, Boston, somewhere Philadelphia. New York City has the most people, so I guess it would have to have the most ghost stories, right? Who knows how it works. And there are some good ghost stories in New York. I've got a book, Ghost Stories and Graveyard Tales New York, and there's a ton of stuff. And it was funny, when I wrote the book, I felt like I was cheating because there's so much stuff to talk about and write about. Like, I knocked that book out in no time at all. Whereas a place like Brentwood, Tennessee, I spent, 9 years working on that silly book. So, yeah, New York, wherever the most people are, you're going to have more ghost stories. So, New Orleans, for a TV show, yes, they can easily say New Orleans is the most haunted place in America. But other places St. Augustine it's the oldest city in the country. It could easily be the most haunted place. But yeah, anyway, it's a fun debate, and I've seen people online arguing back and forth. Oh, well, it's Boston, or hey, it's New Orleans. But yeah, it's really up to you. It's all subjective. Tim W. wrote me an email a few weeks ago. It says, my sister thinks her house is haunted. What should she do to get rid of it? It doesn't hurt anyone. It just opens cabinets and they hear footsteps in the hallway sometimes. Imagine moving into a house as you're lying in bed and you hear someone walking down the hall. That's what it's like. Well, that's pretty creepy. I've wrote a lot of books, over 40 books, and I've done a lot of investigating. I've been in a lot of historical sites, been in a lot of haunted locations. And 99% of the time, ghosts or spirits, they're not malevolent. They're mischief, maybe, but they're not going to hurt anyone. It's not like the movies where people get thrown up against a wall, thrown out a window, as strobe lights go off. And I mentioned living in the house in South Nashville. It's mischievous stuff. It's the light coming on. It's the trash can moving. It's when you come home from work in the afternoon, all the TVs are on in the house. It's weird stuff like that. You're going to hear things. And I've talked to dozens of people, hundreds probably, who lived in haunted houses or worked in haunted locations. And something I've found you can do, if it's bothering you, is politely just be respectful, ask whatever's there, say, please stop. Tell them you don't mind that they're there, but you have a family or you work there and you need them to be respectful of you. And from what I've been told by people who have done that, it generally works. I had a relative, I think I mentioned this a long time ago on the show. I had a relative that had a spirit in their house. What they did was they got someone from a church to come bless the house, and they performed some kind of ritual, and it worked. Whatever was there, it was a lady. It went away, and they never saw it again. I've also heard of burning sage, and that can cleanse the house of the spirits. Salt is another way to get rid of them, supposedly. They say you can sprinkle it around doorways and window sills. I've heard that you can sprinkle it in the four corners of your homes. Now, I know what you're thinking. What kind of salt? Is it iodized, Himalayan? There's a black salt you can buy that is infused with rosemary that's said to turn away evil spirits. I don't know how it all works. Like I said, I'm not a priest. I'm not an expert. So, yeah, Tim, if your sister does want to get rid of whatever's in the house, I suggest speaking to it respectfully, but be firm. And if that doesn't work, that's when I'd escalate it and maybe seek help from a medium or someone from a church. I've talked to several mediums. I know some. They've helped spirits cross over, and they usually do it for free. They feel like it's their obligation with this gift to help the spirits cross over. So, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I've got a few more questions I may stick in my back pocket for another show. And if you have a question you'd like to hear answered, you can follow me on Southern Ghost Stories on Facebook or Instagram and shoot comments or questions there. You can also email me, southernghoststories@gmail.com, or Facebook Messenger. Just shoot it over, whatever you guys want to ask. And if you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear more about places like St. Augustine or New Orleans, I've got books on both of them. Ghost Stories and Graveyard Tales, Florida, and then Southern Ghost Stories, New Orleans. And I dive deeper in the haunted history of Florida and New Orleans, and those books are available on Kindle. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read them both for free. And speaking of books, make sure you head over to Amazon and pick up my latest one, Pistols at Red River, the Andrew Jackson dueling story. Andrew Jackson, I mentioned John Overton earlier. That was his best friend. John Overton was kind of part of that duel. So if you read Pistols at Red River, you'll learn more about John Overton. Him and Jackson were pretty tight, and his brother was part of the duel with Andrew Jackson when they went to the Red River. And also, make sure you leave a review and subscribe to the show. That really helps more people find the podcast. We've had a few reviews roll in over the past week or so, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do that for me. Another thing, have you guys been to Monster City Madhouse yet? MonsterCityMadhouse.com. The new shirt, man, it's a whole lot of fun, and I may or may not have had a hand in its creation. It's up for debate. The greatest cryptid tag team of all time has finally arrived. Straight from the deepest forest of cryptomania comes the monster powers, featuring the Yeti and the Bigfoot, and an over-the-top tribute to classic 1980s wrestling, monster magazines, and larger-than-life personalities. Packed with colorful retro artwork, outrageous promos, championship gold, and enough cryptid power to shake the woods, this exclusive Monster City Mouse design is perfect for wrestling fans, cryptid hunters, horror lovers, and anyone who appreciates old-school cartoon mayhem. Whether you're tracking Bigfoot, searching for the Yeti, or just ready to watch the mega monsters run wild, brother, this shirt was made to stand out. You can use promo code SAVE10 to get 10% off your order. That's right, promo code SAVE10 at MonsterCityMadhouse.com will get you 10% off your order. And I mentioned having a hand in its creation. Ben, my buddy here, runs MonsterCityMadhouse.com. He already has like a kind of Hulkamania Halloween shirt, and I kept telling him, hey, you got to put Macho Man in there. You got to make the Mega Powers. And then a few months later, all of a sudden, this brand new Cryptomania shirt comes out. So I've been giving him a hard time. But yeah, go check him out, MonsterCityMadhouse.com. Support my buddy Ben. Great dude, great merchandise. And you'll actually see me and Ben both at CreepyCon, July 31st through August 2nd in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's going to be a huge horror convention in East Tennessee. It's CreepyCon is one of the biggest horror conventions in Tennessee. Looking forward to it, July 31st through August 2nd. I'll be there signing books in the Southern Ghost Stories booth. Guys like Kane Hodder, Bill Moseley. They got a ton of actors who played villains in iconic horror movies. Kane Hodder, he was Jason in Friday the 13th. And yeah, just you can go to creepycon.com. You can find out all the information. But yeah, it's Friday, July 31st through August 2nd. It's going to be a good time. I'll be there. Come say hello, grab a book. And thank you guys for listening to Southern Ghost Stories. I'll be back on Monday with another episode from the vault. Hope you guys are digging that. It's fun. I found a hard drive with a bunch of old shows. Been uploading them. I don't think they're available on the regular feed, so it's kind of fun to reintroduce those with my lovely co-host Chelsea. It's been a good time talking about the old shows. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm Alan Searcy, the American Historian, and I'll see you guys on Monday, brother. If you love ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, and everything that goes bump in the night, then mark your calendars for the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo, happening September 26 in Mayfield, Kentucky at the Mayfield Graves County Fairgrounds. This incredible one-day event brings together some of the biggest names in the paranormal community, including Aaron G. Thompson from Netflix's 28 Days Haunted, Jimmy and Jeffrey from Outlaw Paranormal, The Wind of Rose, Josh Morris, Michael Huntington, Rachel Ravensville, and many, many more special guests and speakers. Your admission is just $15, and that gets you an all-day come-and-go wristband so you can explore at your own pace. Browse more than 35 vendors, enjoy delicious food trucks, attend speaker presentations and panels, meet investigators, hear incredible stories, and dive into the worlds of hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and the unexplained. Whether you're a seasoned ghost hunter or just curious about the mysteries that surround us, there's something for everyone at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Tickets are on sale now. For more information, visit West Kentucky Paranormal Expo on Facebook and get ready for one of the most exciting paranormal events of the year. We'll see you in Mayfield on September 26th. Monster City Madhouse, a year-round online store full of Halloween and classic horror shirts with an emphasis on the vintage look. Use code SAVE10 for 10% off your order. MonsterCityMadhouse.com. Free shipping and financing is available.